What's a really awkward situation that everyone can relate with? When you start to tell a story in a group but in middle of sentence realize that no one is actually listening and ever so slowly you get quiet and hope no one took notice. Edit. Wow, seems someone did take notice this time. I asked myself a few times what might be wrong with me BC of this, but I also could imagine I'm not the only one this is happening. But I don't think that something is wrong with you. It's just all too often that people just don't think so much. I think people in general mean no harm. They maybe were in this moment just not as emphatic or don't have the antenna in the everyday hustle and bustle to notice something that doesn't jump in the face with a neon sign, figuratively speaking, or, as for this case, notice someone's contribution that is not bursting with self-confidence or provides the perfect introduction, but perhaps acts rather a bit introverted. When you've had multiple interactions with someone but you can't remember their name, but it's gone too far to admit you've forgotten it, so you just have to call them love or mate forever. When you're having a conversation with someone and you don't hear what they say, so you ask them to repeat and they do, but you still don't hear it and ask them to repeat again and they do, and you still don't know what they said. Do you ask them to repeat again, and maybe still not hear it? Pretend you heard it and nod your head and hope it's an appropriate response. Stab yourself in the eye with a pen to create a diversion and change the subject. Saying hello or how are you to somebody and getting 100% ignored. When you're finishing up at the checkout and the cashier puts the notes on top of the receipt and then coins on top of that, then the next person steps up and you're fumbling, trying to disassemble the stack in your hand, gather your shopping, say thanks and move away at the same time. In the UK it's extra sucky because you bag your groceries yourself. If you aren't quick enough you have to do all of what you mentioned as well as quickly finish the packing while everyone stares at you waiting for you to hurry. This is a weirdly regional thing in the US. Grew up in CA. Every grocery store had workers specifically dedicated to bagging so that every checkout lane had a teller and a bagger, so the customer just had to stand there and pay. Move to the East Coast and the separate position of bagger doesn't really exist here. Sometimes I've seen workers do it if it's very busy, but most of the time either the customer does it or the teller will do both jobs while everyone in line behind the lazy a-hole who doesn't bag their own groceries grumbles about how long it's taking. That awkward moment where you and somebody else try to let each other speak but you both try speak at the same time and just keep failing. When you think someone waves at you so you wave back, but they were waving at someone behind you. Not long ago at church we were asked to turn and greet people. I turned around and the guy said hi to me and stuck his hand out to shake. I went for it and realized he was talking to the woman beside me. She and I both ended up with a hand in his hand at the same time trying to shake it. They both looked at me and I quickly turned around and pretended it didn't happen, which made it more awkward. And then rest of the service I couldn't stop laughing about it. This is standard for me. You ever clogged a toilet in somewhere that wasn't your house? Thank guys. My inbox is now clogged with all of your oversized shit stories. Can't wait to binge read all of it. When you walk out of the store empty-handed, feeling like you've just stole something. Walking through a doorway only to catch your clothes on the handle and have it slingshot you backwards. Happens only when you're angry. Same with trying to slam a door out of anger and it somehow gets magically slowed by the air resistance and it just closes a little harder than normal. Or the opposite when you're having an argument but you're actually not heated up but decide to close the door and them for closes with the strength of 1,000 suns. Or when you don't even touch it and the wind is like I'ma slam this door. When you reply to a stranger who says hello, but then realize they were on the phone and not speaking to you. Happened to me just yesterday and I didn't get any sleep last night as I couldn't stop reliving the moment. Ever drag your shoe across a tile floor and have it make a loud, wet, fart sound, so everyone in the room looks at you? Then you insist it was your shoe and try to make the sound again, but nothing happens. Yeah, that. And leather couches. Being called on to answer a question you really have no idea how to answer. The fake smile on your face when you receive a terrible gift. Watching a sex scene with your parents. When you're walking behind someone that has a slightly slower pace than you, so you start to pass them, but then have that awkward moment when you're walking next to them before you cut in front of them.